All right, what is up, everybody? Welcome into today's edition of In the Game. I am your host, Hustle, and as always, we're going to be diving into the crypto gaming markets today, as obviously we've seen a lot of action since the FTX. Everything, the ongoing saga, which is basically like a movie at this point with what's going on with Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX. But in the limelight of that, how does this affect crypto gaming tokens? And is it time to maybe start looking at your top crypto gaming tokens and putting together a strategy to begin DCAing and finding when you're going to get into those positions for the long haul? I'll give my updated thesis on the market on whether it's time to do so. And we're going to dive into FTX Gaming. Now, the infamous division, I guess, of FTX, which was really supposed to lead the way in gaming, and opposite, I think it might just be doing the exact opposite with what has occurred with FTX. So we'll get into all that and more. Let's go ahead and get into it. Without further ado, let's get in the game.
T-minus 15 seconds. Guidance is internal. 12, 11, 10, 9. Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
If you ain't here to hustle, why is you here? But if you here to hustle, the moon is near. It's crypto Banter, not financial advice. If you don't listen, what's the cost, what's the price? This ain't a game, put you on game. I know you don't play, but ain't the same. If you ain't here to hustle, why is you here? But if you here to hustle, the moon is near. It's crypto Banter, not financial advice. If you don't listen, what's the cost, what's the price? This ain't a game, put you on game. I know you don't play, but ain't to play. If you get lost, show you the way.
And let's dive right into it. Be sure to drop down and hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. And if you enjoy the content here every day on Crypto Banter, as well as subscribe for more daily shows right here on the channel. Quick shout out to our sponsors, and we'll get right into it. Myria, Animoca Brands, Unix Gaming, MEXC, and Spintop. You can get more information on all of our sponsors in the link down below. And let's go ahead and dive right into what I'm looking at in the market here with 17K Bitcoin, 1,290 on Ethereum here. And the market is, for the 24 hours, getting a little bit of relief. We're still down 15% almost on Bitcoin and 16% on Ethereum for the week with what's occurred with FTX. But when you're looking and you're kind of still building those watch lists, and you see stuff like Solana down 45%. At one point, Matic got back down to 80 cents. It was down 33% at one point during this cascading dip. What projects might be getting to those value levels after such an event? Are these value prices? And I'm going to be honest, I don't think across the board right now that we're out of the water here. I think economically, after these midterms, I think it's going to get a lot worse. And I don't think that the entire macro markets and just the entire real world markets between the US, China, there's a lot boiling over. And then the US specifically, I just don't see any sort of relief here in any sort of short-term time period. But if you're finding projects with innovation and you're finding those projects that are going to come through on the other side, and you put together a strategy and your watch list, I think that's the best approach, as we always talk about on this show right here. Like I've always been saying, I don't know that it's the time to be just deploying capital into these markets. But however, this is the best time to be vetting projects, adding projects to your watch list that are super quality, that you want to put a strategy together and be able to get into those before the next bull run. And you don't have to time the bottom, but you should have those levels and those market caps in mind, given the entire market climate, on how to get into those. And one thing I would say is, if you're waiting until the market shifts or the market goes bullish to get involved, all those big quality tokens will have already made massive leaps in those time periods. So I'm going to say this once: it pays to pay attention in a bear market. So always pay attention to what the top projects are doing. We talk about Polygon a lot. And I actually would say, out of all the projects in the entire market right now, Polygon has shown the absolute most strength. From 33 cents at the height of the bear market, after their Disney announcement and all the real world business integrations that they've brought to the table that really hardly have been put in effect. With the Reddit NFTs, that's already started. They're going to be doing the Starbucks loyalty program. They're going to be integrated with Meta, Instagram, Facebook. They're going to be integrated with Disney. And we're seeing that in action now as we're seeing, if you look at the Polygon Twitter, come with us on a magical journey. Walt Disney's Disney Accelerator programs help innovators turn their dreams into reality. Catch the live stream at 4 p.m. Pacific time. Stand by for an announcement. So something's going on here with Disney and Polygon, and it's awesome to see this in action. And this is what, excites me the most, is the projects that are paving the way inside of entertainment, inside of gaming, inside of television, movies, music. This is the most exciting stuff inside the industry. And the fact that they're also partnered up with Stripe and other real world businesses, this is not going away for years to come. And I think given the market cap of something like Polygon, this is just a sliver of what I actually think the potential of what the market cap could be, especially once we see the other sides of these types of markets in a recession, which I do think we're headed towards realistically. But the fully diluted market cap's not too much higher than the market cap. So I think Polygon, despite its movements, I think that this is still going to be one of the biggest winners of the other side. And I think you just need to have a strategy for stuff like Polygon. And let's talk about Solana, because a lot of questions are being asked to me on Twitter about Solana gaming ecosystem, as well as people asking questions on the Banter channel about Solana. So for my niche and the crypto gaming niche, NFTs, stuff like that, the NFT market has certainly cooled off. And I think their little royalty debacle has kind of had something to do with that. The Sol NFT market has definitely taken a little bit of a dive. But on the gaming side, there are a lot of quality projects that have obviously been going to launch. There's Mini Royale, there's Star Atlas, Earth from Another Sun, there's Honeyland. We've talked to a lot of these projects on the channel here in the past. But one thing that comes to mind every time I think about the ecosystem of Solana gaming, I think a lot about FTX Gaming and their division. So FTX launched a gaming division. Their $2 billion Web3 venture fund, led by Lightspeed's Amy Wu, was meant to oversee FTX's gaming business. Now, that's $2 billion. Maybe there's a part of the balance sheet issue. Where did that money go, right? FTX to launch gaming unit to support mainstream crypto adoption. Obviously, we haven't seen much come out of that. Another $100 million game fund here with Solana, FTX, and Lightspeed involved. I know that FTX Gaming had a very heavily leveraged stake inside of the Solana gaming ecosystem. And the problem short term, right, we're seeing a 45% dip on Solana just this week. That's coming from people who, had conviction in Solana, but also know that SBF is and FTX, they're very invested in Alameda, and they're all very interconnected, kind of, that ecosystem. SBF really supported Solana. So in the short term, it's definitely taking kind of a cascading effect alongside, the entire market. But Solana got hit a little bit harder due to all of that. And it's really such a shame that they fumbled away, such a name brand and such a power player potentially in this market. They were the sponsor here of TSM Esports, one of the biggest esports organizations in the world. But these are the exact reasons that their balance sheets are so misconstrued, and that we're having these conversations today about FTX being insolvent, which is absolutely crazy developments in the space. But when you spend $210 million for the naming rights to the TSM Esports org, you spend $135 million on a 19-year stadium deal. And they bought the most valuable esports organization at $410 million. I believe that's out of date now. I believe FaZe does outvaluate TSM now, if I'm not mistaken. But what a development. But when talking Solana, I would let it play out. I think we're going to see cheaper Solana in all reality. But I think long term, the efficiency of the network and the ease of access for gaming, it's very fast transactions. When I'm on the Star Atlas site and I'm doing transactions, it's super seamless. So I really don't think that anything regarding the Solana network running games, it has nothing to do with the efficiency of Solana or anything like that. And I think the ecosystem is still going to thrive long term. But I think that Solana is going to bleed a bit more given the macro conditions and some more developments potentially with FTX and what's to come from that. So let's go ahead and move on to Gala. Gala, I am always keeping my eyes on Gala, guys. The one thing I want to see come down still is the diluted market cap. If this diluted market cap, which was once, I believe we were looking at a $9 billion plus fully diluted market cap at one point for Gala, and now we're looking at a $1 billion flat market cap for the fully diluted. I mean, if this goes much lower, the only thing that would keep me away from DCAing is the difference between the market cap and the fully diluted market cap. 200 million to 1 billion is quite steep. But given the quality of everything coming to the platform, Gala Games is always in the conversation. Now, given the macro conditions, similarly to Solana, I do think with the market bleeding, Gala, we're going to see lower prices. And I think that if you're looking at a long-term, entry point, you're sitting on the sidelines, you're stacking cash, stacking stable coins, and having a strategy for whenever you're actually ready to deploy into this market, whenever they're launching so many quality games, and then across music and film. Gala is a no-brainer, but I think the market cap could settle a bit more lower and a little bit south potentially of $1 billion. I think we could totally see that, and we could start seeing maybe some value prices here on Gala to start really accumulating for the next run. But when things are playing out with such a high cap token that really does move a lot with the market, right? I mean, it's not been like Polygon. Like Gala is not really aggressively moving against the market like Polygon has, for example. I could see it really bleeding and us getting some pretty cheap Gala on the other side. And one project I think that is absolutely making major strides, and this market cap is getting super cheap, and that is Vulcan Forge. Vulcan Forge still paving the way, 10 plus games on their platform, their blockchain, and the backing from Skybridge Capital. They are going to be doing so many things with their Metascapes metaverse building platform with all the connections that Scaramucci has over there. We're looking at an $80 million market cap. And the market cap for the fully diluted is a little high. It's 160 million. It's about 2 times the normal market cap. But the tokenomics behind Vulcan Forge are very, very solid. And just today we see probably some of those Scaramucci connections paying off, as the asset added to the roadmap today for Coinbase was Vulcan Forged, PYR. And as you see here, Scaramucci rocking the Mooch hoodie. So I'm definitely have high conviction as far as Vulcan Forge in the future. And I think that, with all-time highs, I believe around $44 for Vulcan Forged. I think anything below $3, if we get below $3 on Vulcan Forge for a long-term position, you might be looking at some very, very value. Those are some pretty value levels as far as Vulcan Forge goes for a long-term position. And that's all that I would recommend doing in these type of markets. These are super volatile times, guys. The only capital that you should even think about deploying is stuff that you want to see out for the long term. And I am not a financial advisor. This is never financial advice. I'm always just laying out my strategies and what I'm looking at inside of these markets. And if I'm to DCA into something, let's say like Polygon, I'm going to do that and not think about it for a year, 3 years, 5 years. This is stuff that you have to be willing. It should be, as they call it, like risk capital, or, set aside a way to go. 20% is going into investments, 80%, into like expenses. Like figure out what you're going to do, stack into some stable coins, and just have a strategy to get involved, because these are the best times. And I say it once, I'll say it twice. It pays to pay attention. And I think that if you're building out those watch lists, you're getting those right small caps as well. When you're looking at the small caps, like Remark, like Phantasma, even Altura is still doing some things behind the scenes. You have Wazder, which I'm super convicted on. And I think Wazder is my favorite low cap altcoin as far as gaming and coming out of the next run. I think that Wazder really does have a lot of potential to have explosive growth on the other side. So build those watch lists, and I promise you, when the time comes, you will be ready to attack these markets and come out on the other side as a winner from the upcoming recession, which I do think we see. And I think you will get those new lows that you are looking for. Just be patient, because the economic climate is not changing anytime soon, in my opinion. And this is just my thesis. Let me know your comments down below on what you think is going to happen with the market and what your strategy is in this time. Like the video if you got value, and let me know what some of your favorite coins are as well on your watch list that you are looking to get into throughout this bear market. Subscribe to the channel for shows every day on Crypto Banter. I will be back on Monday with another show, guys. As always, play well, my friends.
Mm-hmm.